Boundaries and Brotherhood, your go-to for getting over the stigma of mental health. And this is why we created this program, because a lot of times some people just don't know where to turn to. You see a lot of people just telling things what to do. We would dig down to the nitty gritty so that we can figure out how to get you the best help specifically for your situation in the terms that might help you go through your day, right? So today's topic, Doc, is going to be beyond the man up, right? How do we
Yeah.
defining masculinity for a better mental health situation, and how this all came about? Because I had a call this week from one of our viewers, and he was going through some things, and he just wanted to say thank you because the things that we do on our podcast and everything that we do here has helped him get through. And this person just did a grip of time and he was feeling a certain way. And I explained to him, you have to set the boundaries. And we went through this whole spiel, talked to him for about an hour and everything else. And it saved lives from undoing him, the people he was going to hurt, the people who's going to get involved, and the people that going to get to do moving forward. So in essence, while Doc's put it, we're here to save lives. And if we can save just one, we're not just saving one, we're saving many, because you actually have some people that need this and need the direction and are reaching out. Doc, how does what were we going over? And while I get us all set up technically again, run us what we're gonna go through, what we might be talking about today on the live, and to shout out for the guy that reached out and figured out that he can figure out, because I know him from my past. We all can get violent. And just the fact that we saved that situation is just a blessing in itself.
Do me a favor, Gordon. Before I start, man, can you
Yes.
send me the invite on TikTok to
Oh, okay.
join?
Let me see.
So I don't want them
Let's,
to miss out on it.
oh, here we go.
All right, there we go.
Yep. Okay. No
All right,
worries. We're streaming on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, and everything else.
there we go. All right. Okay.
Oh,
All right.
let me turn this
So
volume
greetings.
down more.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
go ahead.
Greetings, everybody. So I'm Dr. Keith Fairclough. I'm the resident licensed mental health counselor. And yeah, today, guys, we're going to be talking about, going beyond man up, right? And which is interesting because I actually, Gordon, I don't know if I posted it, but I had a video about that same topic as well, because that phrase "man up," for one, what does that even mean? First and foremost, what does it mean to man up, right? And usually, if someone gives the definition, Gordon, you know what it mean? What they say? Oh, I mean, stop crying about it. Suck it up. Keep moving forward. Rub dirt in it. Nobody cares. Work harder. All this other nonsense like that, which is it just doesn't make any sense, right?
Right.
Because then we leave men hurting. And imagine, Gordon, the guy you were just talking about. And guys, that's a real life situation as well, right? So this isn't
Real
like
life.
some made up, story that we're just like, oh, let's do that. Like we don't operate like that, right? So that was, imagine if Gordon were to tell that man in his hardest time and a difficult time, he's reaching out for help, right? He's reaching out for help, right? And if Gordon was to say, we just man up, man, stop being a baby, stop crying, stop being a pea, da 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 da, you have that, and then it's like, well, shoot, well, I can't like shoot. I guess no one cares, so whatever. I'm just going to do what I'm going to do, and so I think that's why it's so critical for us to recognize that. That whole phrase it's terrible. So today we're going to be talking about how to actually, really deal with the things we're dealing with anxiety, dealing with depression, understanding what those things mean and how to overcome it.
No, absolutely. Because it was a real situation. Because when he said me, hey, I need some help right now. I said, what do you, everything, I just came back from a mini vacation with my kids and I put everything to the side and my wife was telling me what's going on. I said, I got to talk to this guy right now because it's that important, because they're both my friends, his girl and him. I know them both personally, right?
Yeah.
So it's like this and that. I gave my opinions, learned everything from what Doc's been saying. This is why I have, and this is the reason why this is really, really major, guys, right? The reason why I do this channel is so my sons, if I'm not around, can refer back to me, refer back to this and say, take my message at heed because I'm leaving a lasting legacy so that they can do guide it, guide them through life, even if I'm not around. Because let's face it, this is where we started to help men. I got two boys. How am I going to help them when I'm not around 80 years old? At least this can be a lasting legacy for my kids to know that I did this for you too.
Mhm.
And that has a personal experience for me. But understand that when we start helping men or anybody's situation, they could be going through some things that we might not see under the cover, under the hood, right? You might be going through some validation issues, some frustration, societal expectations. It's just noise, right?
Mhm.
And then you see a lot of these guys. Okay, they're glorifying the prison time, all that stuff. Like, they do what they do to get their views and their clicks and to make money. I get it. I'm trying to save lives, or at least not get you down that path where you can find some sort of purpose in
Mhm.
your life to move forward, so that the actionable steps, if you've seen last week's workshop, it has actionable steps to make you move forward with your life, right?
Mhm.
Now, the pressure of bottling up and manning up and doing your emotions, we know it came from something else, some old bullshit um viewpoint, beliefs, and everything else. Like Doc says, like, how are you challenging that? Doc, please explain on that, especially on this mental well health journey,
Yeah.
right?
So the first thing I think it's important for all of us as men to ask is, who decided that, right? And maybe I'm pulling from the seven deadly sins with that. But if you ever watch that anime, but that's the question: who created the standard? Who said that we're supposed to go it alone? Who said we're not supposed to open up? Who said we're not supposed to feel? Like, who was it? I would give everything I own if someone could legitimately tell me, yep, this person has the authority over all men and said this is what the truth is and this is what we're supposed to do. So that's where that came from. I can guarantee you will never find it. You'll never find it, ever. You know, and that's the crazy part. No one ever stops to ask, well, yeah, where did these standards come from? Who said we can't open up? Who said we can't share? Who said we can't feel? Who said we can't do these things? Who says we can't connect? Who says we can't ask for help? Who set that standard? Who set that rule? And the answer is nobody. So then why are we perpetuating it? And Gordon, like I told you, and I told other guys as well, like, we all want to be loved. We all want to be considered. We all want to be thought about. We all want to be connected. We all want these things, all of us as men. And yet we're over here upholding a standard that we don't even know where it came from, and it's killing us. We could all be in a room needing help. And instead of us saying, hey, I'm going through it, or I'm struggling, I'm having a hard time, we put on a fake strong face, shove it all the way down, die more on the inside, and then keep pushing forward. And then when a man might try to open up and share, it's like, yeah, no, you need to man up, stop being weaker. Or you need to work harder or go work out in the gym, and that's fine. It's like, it's not though. And it's not. And that what he really needs is the same thing that you need. So that's the first thing I would say. Like, ask yourself the question, who said that that's the way it has to be? Who said
Mm-hmm,
that's what
mm-hmm.
makes you a man, struggling by yourself and all that? Like, who said
It's
that?
hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah.
And it came from, I believe it came from honestly, I think so. It came from an industrial age model when we went into the depression mode, where the man was supposed to do something, is to man it up so he can provide for his kids and family in the 1920s. We're in 2026, where you had so much noise and everything got going on. And the alpha males that's out there, which is cool because hey, that's what they want to preach. That's the one you want to go. But you're seeing a shift right now. You're seeing a shift from those alpha males because they all found out they're all frauded, right? They're always a money grab for everything else. Like Doc said, we're not
Mhm.
selling snake oil here. We're selling real results, real thing with real people with real challenges to get to you where, because if you take my history, right? You take my history, and I just had this conversation with somebody, right? In fact, I had a conversation with my stepmom. Said, why didn't I get the attention I deserve because I was dumped off to my grandma? And I finally realized, because the things I teach my boys now, they want attention, they want love, they want hugs, I want them to express themselves. If I'm not doing for them, how do you expect them to do it to me? And
Mhm.
how I'm supposed to carry that for them as a man later on in the future? Because I have to, I have to bring up men. in today's world with some old values, to have values, but also to be emotionally stable and to be confident, right? If I'm putting in instilling unconfident emotions to not be able to express themselves and all this stuff, what's going to happen later on when they're teenagers, right?
Mhm.
You just went through this recently with your kids,
Yeah.
with your son, right?
Yeah. You end up following
So
the same template that
yeah,
you've been following for so long. It's destructive. Yeah.
very destructive.
Yeah.
Now, when people find purpose or they feel like they're being in the depressed mode, anxiety, what usually happens and how to come out of it?
So if you're trying to find, you're not gonna be able to find your purpose, being buried in overwhelm and depression. You're not gonna be able to find your purpose if you're living in constant anxiety, where you're concerned
Mm.
about everything that's coming your way, right? You're just not. Your mind, you're in survival mode. I mean, think of it like this.
Oh, yeah.
If you're running for your life, are you stopping to think? Are you thinking during that time? You know what? I wonder if I should try this new idea. Man, this would really change a lot of lives. Duck around this corner, bullets flying over your head. No one's thinking that. No one's thinking that at all. You're thinking, I'm trying to survive. Point blank. Period. That's what I'm trying to do. Right? So if you think of it along those terms, like no, if I'm struggling with anxiety, right? Or let me rephrase this: if I don't understand, right, my anxiety, I don't understand my depression or my overwhelm. And the reason why I'm framing it like that is because unfortunately we live in a day and age where we pathologize emotions, right? People will say, well, I'm an anxious person, or I'm just always, depressed. Things like we pathologize it, where it's really just a message from your brain that something's going on. And the sooner you respond to the message, the sooner you can get through it. So for instance, anxiety. So you're talking about trying to find your purpose. Anxiety is purpose. That message your brain is giving you, that's just to tell you, hey, something's coming and we don't know if we're prepared for it. And instead of running from it, answer the question, are we prepared for it? If is a bill coming, I don't know if we're prepared for it. Well, check your bank account. Is the money there? If it's yes, oh, then we're good. If the money's not there, oh, then guess what? We're not prepared for it. So we got to do something about it, right? So anxiety should drive you towards some type of action, not an endless loop. But too often we get
Mm.
caught up in, oh, what, and I don't, and it's this, and what if it's that, and that, and because you keep running from it and you don't answer it, your brain amplifies the message, and so then you wonder why you get all these crazy thoughts that seem irrational, right? That's because you're not answering the message. Your brain is amplifying the message because, like, hey, listen, there's something coming that could possibly kill us. Let us know what's going on, and we're going to send you a bigger signal and a bigger signal and a bigger signal until you respond. Before it's all said and done, when you don't respond, you're having panic attacks. Now you can't go outside. Now you have a phobia. Now you're all these things are happening because when a simple message came up, where it's like, hey, we ready? You didn't just
Right.
say yes or no and then make a move. You allow it to continue to perseverate and ruminate, right? You're not going to find your purpose with that mindset. Not going to happen. And then you have depression, right? And people often, think depression just means sadness, right? Or I'm just really sad and down. Well, no, it doesn't. Actually, sadness is its own emotion. Depression is actually overwhelm. Think about the word depressed. What does depressed mean? It means to press down. So if someone is depressed, it means they have so much on them, they are pressed down. Someone who is pressed down is overwhelmed. It means they don't have the capacity for anymore, which is why someone who is depressed is going to struggle to get up and just go take a shower. They're going to struggle to go apply for a job. Simple things, struggle to go make themselves some food, right? Because they have so much on them, or at least that's the way their mind thinks. They can't move forward, right?
Oh,
So
look at
when you
this.
start looking at it the right way, right, then you start, okay, no, shoot, now I understand. And then because now once you understand what depression is, I'm overwhelmed, I got so much on me. Now you could be like, okay, well, shoot, what is on me? Oh, I have this concern and that concern and this concern and that concern and da 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 da. And now you can actually start taking actionable steps because again, the message your brain is giving you is like you got too much going on, and we're shutting everything down until you get it right, until you start getting things organized. And then once again you respond to it, because this happened to me before. And when I started off my practice, and I felt like, oh my gosh, I'm drained, I'm overwhelmed, da 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 da, whatever. My brain was like simply telling me, hey, bro, you're not taking a break. You're just going. So what did I do? I responded, "You're right, brain." Change my schedule. Hey, Saturdays after 12, I'm done. I'm not answering phone calls. I'm not taking consultations. I'm not doing notes. I'm not working on nothing. Right. And so that what I can do now is recharge. Guess what happened? Overwhelm went away. Depression went away. Gone. Done. Right. So it's important for us, if you're really trying to find your purpose and those two things are sitting in your way, it's important for you to understand what they're telling you. Those emotions of anxiety and depression are telling you.
What
So
happened?
you can go and solve it. And then now you can actually move into a place where you can start actually trying to find your purpose.
Well, we have a question from a live viewer, one of my friends. Guys, if you're looking in for one of my friends, Carlin out there, Canyon Carlin, he runs Antelope Canyon out there. He's doing his. He also wants to know. Can you also touch on how best for those of us who might be around those who are experiencing deep anxiety and depression, we can be supportive without being contentious or enabling? Guys, if you're watching this on TikTok, if you want to jump on my Facebook, you can leave a message, a real live message on Facebook and on our YouTube channel or my personal Facebook channel, because I can't get the live comments from TikTok with this restream. But Doc, how does that sound?
So if you're around someone who's overwhelmed, or you're around someone, well, we'll do it one at a time, right? So we'll start with
Yes, yes.
overwhelm. So now that we understand what overwhelm is, right? Because you start hearing people, and here's the thing: once you see it, you can't unsee it. I have clients come in and they're like, "Man, I don't know what's going on," and they start listing all these things. And this happened to me, and that happened to me, and this, and I got all these responsibilities. And this. I just had a session yesterday where a wife was talking about all this stuff she does, and I'm like, you're overwhelmed, right? Like, you're like worn out, and that's why you're snapping.
Mhm.
Someone's trying to put something on your plate, like that's what it is. You're just like, yeah, I am, right? And I get that same response over and over again, right? So for someone who's dealing with that, right, and yeah, you see that, being able to just be there and just ask questions, right? Hey, what do you got going on? Let them get it all out, because that's another thing as well. Keeping it in your head is one of the worst things you could do.
Mm.
You can direct, hey, maybe you should write these things down or get them out of your head, right? And just being there. So as far as like enabling, as far as when it comes to overwhelm, so that you're not enabling, asking them, hey, are there any things you could take off your plate, or is there any help you can get, or is there any kind of relief you can get, right? Asking them, okay, is there anything I can do to help to take something off your plate? Depending on the person you're around, depending on your relationship, right? Sometimes, hey, it's like, well, I'm not really in their life like that, so I don't know want to take on that responsibility, but you could just allow them, sometimes just give them the space to vent and get it out and normalize it. And that's so important. If you get nothing else from this response here, it's so important. Normalize it. Because when you start listening to what people are going through and you let them know, it makes sense that you feel the way you feel. Because a lot of people feel, it's, I should be able to handle it. I shouldn't be having problems. I'm a man. I should be able to take this and be able to deal with it. It's like, no, you're a human first. And
Yeah,
as
I
a
was just
human
about to say.
first,
Yeah.
yeah, the things that you just told me, how you're working 16-hour days and then coming home and cleaning the house and then coming home and doing laundry and then putting the kids to bed and then making dinner and then preparing for the next day. And then you get 2 hours of sleep and then you're up and do it all again the next day. Yeah, bro,
Sounds like
the
my
way you
wife.
feel is normal. That is normal. It's okay if you're not weird, you're not weak. That's normal, bro. You got too much on you. Just
Right.
normalizing it does wonders for people, because now it's like, okay, well, shoot, now that I know that's normal, okay, I'm not crazy, I'm not weak, or anything along those lines. Okay, well, then I know now what can we do to start solving some of this and getting some of these things off our plate? Because unfortunately, what happens, a lot of the stuff that we're carrying in our head, a lot
Mm-hmm.
of stuff we can't even do anything about. So we're worrying and stressing ourselves out about things we can't do anything about. So just giving someone that space, that space to kind of open up and share, and then normalizing that with them. So again, normalizing doesn't mean you're enabling. It just means that you're letting them know, hey, it's okay. What you feel is what you feel. That's fine, right? So I would say that normalizing and giving someone the space to open up and share, yeah, you can validate, but then if they're willing to move towards some type of resolution to some of these issues and really ask them the questions like, hey, do you really need to take that on? Do you really need to do that? And as far as like anxiety is concerned, right? You know, really getting them at the same thing, kind of getting to talk about it. Some of the things that people are concerned about are legitimate concerns. I might lose my house. I might lose my freedom. I might lose my family. I might lose my marriage, right? Normalizing that first, like, yeah, actually the way things, what you just described, sounds like, yeah, that could be a real possibility, man. But again,
No,
for
absolutely.
anxiety, the cure for anxiety is okay, but now what do we do? You have to do something. There's a phrase that says action beats fear. Because when it comes to anxiety, again, the message is just, hey, something's going on. Can we handle it? And then again, if we can handle it, well, then we should be good. But if we can't handle it, then we get help. And maybe it's having those conversations. Maybe it's like, hey, I need someone in my corner for this. Or maybe it's, hey, maybe I need to do X, Y, Z. Or maybe I got to make a hard decision, you know? And hey, but I'll walk with you through it as you're making that hard decision. So as far as that, but I think normalizing it is so critically important because there's a lot of us as men that feel that if we admit to some of these things, if we share some of these things, then we're not men or we're weak or we're soft and all those things like that. And it's like, bro, no, not at all. Not even a little bit. And that's one of the real truths that we've been talking about this last year is that becoming open and sharing and getting help does not make you weak. It doesn't make you weak at all. We as men, we
It's in
need each
control.
other. We need
Yeah,
each other,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I would say, yeah, that's how you would be able to support someone who's struggling with anxiety or struggling with depression. But I will say this, be careful though, because what you don't want to do is create codependence where you're their savior and you're saving them all the time. And now you're getting
Mhm.
drained. That could happen as well. You got to make sure you have good boundaries there as well, because the
Okay.
whole purpose is to give them agency. Now, I want to be there to support you as you have agency, but I cannot do it for you. I can help, I can support, but I cannot do it for you. So making sure you have those boundaries as well so you don't get drained in that process.
No, absolutely, 100%. Because a lot of the times, you you know, you might be going through all that good stuff, right? That what you just talked about, and a lot of times, you've been taught a different way, and a lot of times you don't even know where that came from, like you said before. But like
Mhm.
you said, wouldn't have to find where it came from. You would give your whole practice to figure out where it all came from, guys. If you want your questions answered, head on over to Facebook or at YouTube, where you can have your questions answered live from Doc. He is a clinical therapist, my partner, my collaborator. And here we do this so that we can help you help men figure out their way to get out of the depression, like we just did for a client. Get out of that anxiety that you had. Because when you was just describing the things that you was going through, having kids, having my wife, she does so much to put on a plate. And I tell her, let me take something off your plate for the situation right now, because if not, people explode, right? They turn
Yeah.
violent, they turn angry, they turn
Mhm.
frustrated, they turn everything. And that's what happened to one of our viewers, right? It's like, we we have violent backgrounds. Our main thing is we go to violence and pain first.
Mhm.
And once you start calming that all down, at least you know that, okay, I heard you, I listened to you, I heard what you said. Let me give you the introspect and my insights from my things from there.
I just want to speak on that before we move forward, right? Because I know
No,
we
absolutely.
we touched on that a little bit, off camera, right? We were talking about it
Mhm.
and how a lot of people you look at like all these violent offenders and these violent criminals and things like that. We look at them and we want to judge from the outside, like, oh, that's a horrible person, that's a horrible person. But if you think about your friend, right, and you think about, well, shoot, all he
Oh, look
needed
at this.
was someone who could empathize with him. Like, you make sense, right? And a lot of
Right.
guys like that, and Gordon, you can attest to this, man. There's a lot of guys like that they didn't have that. They didn't have anyone that was going to be in their corner and be like, "Hey, I got you." They didn't have that support. They didn't have someone pouring into them and say, "Hey, you're valuable, you're loved." Hey, we got like they didn't have that. And then on top of not having it, they also were hurt over and over and over again. They were abandoned over and over and over again, neglected over and over and over again. And so eventually people get to either two sides, right? They either shut all the way down, become depressed, and people walk all over them and they get used, or they go to the other extreme. Well, no one's going to do that to me again. So if you scuff my shoe, I'm going to shoot up the whole block. Everyone's got to go, right? So, but ultimately it's like that's what it is. And you talk to these guys and that's what comes up. Like that, I just wanted someone to care about me, right? So that's why it's so important for us to be able to have those conversations, create that safe space, normalize their experience. Yeah, bro, yeah, no one loved you your whole life. You never got a hug, never got a birthday. All you got was, well, you got some water, so you should be thankful. Like, you were hurt and they told you to suck it up or stop being weak. You got
Mhm.
you got beat because you were sad. Like, yeah, no, of course, yeah. The something I've said, a quote I have is, "We make our own monsters." Right? We
Yeah.
make our own
I
monsters.
mean, yep. I
But
like that one.
how we do it is because we keep perpetuating the same foolishness over and over and over again. And one of the phrases I hate the most is, "Well, I turned out all right." That's a lie. Anyone who has to say I turned out all right didn't turn out all right. And I'm
That's an
telling you that
excuse. That's
right
a
now.
reasoning.
Yeah,
That's
you
a
know,
reasoning.
like what are we talking about? Yeah, I know my parents didn't care
That's
about
an
me.
excuse I say. I tell you, you're doing 20 years in prison. Yeah, I turned out all right, but I'm a best parent.
Yeah, yeah, it's like, what are we on right now? So yeah, I've been divorced 5 times. I turned out all right. They should be like, what are we on right now? Right? We're all humans. We all have issues and problems, and we've come to different places. Instead of being judgmental, and trying to tear people down, why don't you just take time to listen and build them up? Right. I
Right.
remember I'll share this one last real quick story, and then we'll move on, right? But a few months ago, or the Rampage Jackson, his son, I forgot what his name was, but his son hopped in a wrestling ring and beat this man down, crushed his, it really, really messed this guy up, right? Because of all this fake masculinity, stuff that people are pushing out there, right? And all these goading him and things of that nature. So I made a video about that, talking about that. And then this guy got on there and is like, well, I didn't get that, and so it's no excuse, and he shouldn't have done. He's still wrong. I'm like, bro, you missed the point altogether. No one's excusing the behavior. No one's
Right.
excusing the behavior. I'm just saying we need to look at where this behavior came from.
Where it
And
came
of
from.
course, he missed it. Whoever this guy was, whoever the person that was coming to him, he missed it. Oh, yeah, but still, because I went there and I did that. Clearly, this isn't for you. Clearly, this isn't for you. And I feel bad for whoever his children are, whoever's in his life with that type of mentality. Because the fact of the matter is, for one, someone should have been there for him, just like someone should have been there for Rampage Jackson's son, right? Like that's someone should have been. And so that's what I'm talking about, us being there for one another, normalizing the experience before we go off and do something crazy, right?
Right.
That's what this is all about. So I'm
Carlin
sorry.
asked again. So
Yeah.
that's I guess it pertains to the statement about the agency, right? Yeah, that's
Yeah.
his concern. How to help them have agency without picking it up himself.
Yeah.
How do you answer that one?
Is that a question or a statement?
Yes. That's his concern. How to
Oh,
help them have agency without picking it up himself.
well, really, when you're asking someone questions, right? You let them know and empower them that they have the power to change the situation. I think that's the biggest thing. So as you guys are having conversations and you're talking, they're opening up, it's normalized and things like that. Then you start letting them know that you have a lot more agency you might give yourself credit for. What are some things actually you can change? What actually do you have the power to change?
What
What
Let
do you
me
need to
stop you
let
there.
go of?
What is agency for people that don't understand it, like myself?
Agency
What are you referring to?
Agency is your ability, essentially, it's your free will, your ability to
Okay.
control the different aspects of your life, to
Okay.
control your emotions, control your responses, control your interactions, control all of that. So that's what we want to give people the power to do, right? The
Mhm.
goal is to give you the power to manage your life, right? Or I'm going to say give you the power, let you recognize that you have the power to change things within your own life. Yeah, if you're
You have the power.
depressed,
Yeah.
you have the power to change that in your life. And I know a lot of people will say, oh, yeah, well, you're chronically depressed and you'll be like that way forever. Without doing any type of blood test, any type of neurotransmitter test, anything like that. It's like, oh, yeah, you'll be depressed forever. That's just what it is. Bro, that's no agency. Now you're giving all your power over to a pill. That's crazy. And I'm not against medication, but I'm saying, really? Or you're going to be anxious forever. Or when people say, I'm an anxious person, that's just what it is. Like, what are we on? What are we talking about right now? No, the goal is to give you power. Yes, if you understand, I'd like it like this. If anyone's ever seen Iron Man, I don't know if it was Iron Man 2 or 1 or whatever, but there's a scene in Iron Man, maybe even part 3.
There's a scene in it where he's in the like the middle of this room or something like that. I think it's part 2 actually. And he starts moving things around in the room, right? He's moving things around. He's shifting these things like this, and he's moving things together, and he's throwing these things away. I want you to think of agency along those lines. Like you are in the middle of your life. You're in your brain, whatever, however you want to internalize it, right? And you are like, okay, I can change this. I can change that. I don't need this. I don't need that. This message came through. Okay, I know what to do with that. That's what your life should look like. I have complete total control and command over my whole life. So, and that's the power we want to give back to people, because too often it's like, oh, well, I can't do it because my skin color. I can't do it because, the government. I can't do it because where I live. I can't do it because I don't have enough money. I can't do it because I have too much money. I can't do it because I have this. We make all these excuses. And I'm telling you guys right now, every excuse you make, you give your power away. And then when it's all said and done, all that's left is a victim. And a victim is someone you can't do anything. As victim has no agency because you've given all your power away to everything and everyone else. But the crazy part is, if you have the power to give your power away, you have the power to take your power back. So even if you have put yourself in a victim mode, all you have to do is make a choice to say, I don't want to be a victim anymore. I don't want to be a victim anymore. So now I'm going to start taking control back. And so as far as like how to help people do that, remind them of that. If you're talking and they're sharing things, you could say, hey, have you considered? Don't tell them you can do this, you need to do that. That's not going to work, right? Again, then you end up you picking it up. No, have you considered? Have you thought about that? Hey, I remember this one time you did X and that worked out well. And what happened with you there? What keeps you from doing that? So now you start asking them questions, and now they start, oh shoot, yeah, I could go back to doing that. Oh, yeah, I could do that. You know what? Actually, I don't have to do that anymore. You know what? Hey, I could. And now what happens? They start moving and making momentum, right? So, and once they start making that momentum and moving forward, then you don't have to pick that up, right? Because it's not yours to pick up, and that's so important when you're working with people, right? You have to remember that I can't do anything for you, but I can create the environment, and I can help you get the insight for you to do it for yourself. And so therefore you don't have to pick it up. And especially if you have boundaries as well, that's important as well. Maybe we'll talk about that another time, but having those as well, like, okay, well, I want to help you, but you're out here calling me 2:00 in the morning and want to talk for like 3 hours. I got to get up at 5 and take care of my family.
That's where boundaries come in, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where boundaries come in, because a lot of the times, I just wanted to say, like, guys, if you're watching this on TikTok, get your questions answered on these Thursdays from Doc right here. Put him on YouTube. Go to Boundaries and Brotherhood. Find it on YouTube. Watch our playlist. You can hit it on Boundaries and Brotherhood on Facebook, on my personal page. If you know me personally, like Carlin is doing, a lot of times we have the power. Like, that's going to be our tagline. You are the key. You always been. All you have to do is know that you can do, because you always been the key. From the day you were born, you were destined to do something. You weren't destined to have anxiety. For some reason, society put you in this plane where you want to be depressed, make excuses, let validation take control over you. And how do you do that? Sometimes you just got to be silent. Drive in your car for a minute. Go take a drive. Go work out. Put on some music. Get some physical activity going there, because you can detox from all that crap, because you're overloaded and distracted by social media and everything else. Believe me, I get it. It just so happened that we helped save some of our clients this past week because they were being heard. They got the attention that they was looking for. Like, it's like I was telling Doc earlier, right? Every one of us has some sort of trauma and use the old verbiage from somebody's grandfather's saying. We already touched on that, right? Like, time will heal. Time don't heal shit unless you have some sort of action behind it, right? What's another one that we went over, right? We went over so many of these because time will just give you more excuses and more validation to suppress everything, right? Right? Trauma happens when something like you didn't get the attention from your mom, but you wanted it so bad and you push everything away, And this is why you wonder why you turned out the way you did, because you didn't get the love, the attention, the respect, even the listening from that. How do you get no visitations from your own mom and think I'm okay? I didn't get it as a kid, but I thought that was normal, right?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't
Yeah.
get this. Is why I when I thought about it, I talked to my stepmom. It started with frustration. You cover up the want that you have, then all of a sudden you either go left or you go right. You're gonna get depressed, you're gonna go down, or you go, nobody gonna do this anything to me anymore. So you become that persona.
Mm-hmm.
And once you became that persona and you get into other things, that's when it just gets bigger and
Yeah.
explodes 100-fold.
Yeah.
Right?
And
And like,
and that persona makes sense too, Gordon. It makes sense. Again, a lot of times people are like, well, I don't understand. How can they do that? How can they do that? When you start listening to the story, listen to how they're interpreting things, listen to how they're internalizing things, looking for when they were seeking help and they couldn't get it, when someone had the power to speak life into them and to just be there and they didn't get it, then yeah, it makes sense, because you have to. The thing is, your brain is designed to keep you alive. That is its
absolutely.
primary purpose. And so even when it
John,
comes
John,
to emotional pain, and when it comes to that emotional pain, if it requires us to create a persona of I'm hard, I'm tough, I'm not opening up, I'm not vulnerable, I'm not the one to be messed with. And if we need to start having evidence of that to prove that to people, to keep ourselves safe, put on the strong face, the hard face, things like that, we will do it. And so that it makes sense. We shouldn't
it
have to
protects.
do it.
Yeah,
Yeah, but it keeps you safe, because now, guess
right.
what? Now I don't have to worry about emotional pain. I'm not even going to connect with you, right? I'll sleep with the female, and then hop to the next female after that. And she's all boohoo crying, talking about we're in love. But listen, I'm not connected because I don't want to get hurt. So I'm just going to do what I want to do to keep myself alive, keep myself safe. And that's it. Move forward. But then once you realize there's a better way to do that without having to put on this, without having to abandon who you are, without having to abandon, you could leave the persona behind, still be a full, authentic man, masculine man. You could do that. And then, have whatever life you're looking for after that. So it's just, that just to help people understand that, yeah, we do create personas. And this isn't just for like people who've been to jail. This is across the board.
Oh, across the board. I just had one.
Yeah.
I just had one the other day, right? How's this? So, two twins. Okay, imagine this. You had two twins. One gets into a fight, right? One gets into a fight situation. Guess what happened to the girl that got into a fight, because it was all recorded, it was all on phone and all this stuff. And one just watched. Two identical, two same situation. The one that fought and got riled up by the people around them took on that persona. Now I'm this
Mhm.
tough person, right? And it just it exploded this way, sideways, and it went deep because this client took on the persona when she wasn't even tough, but she took that and she ran with it.
Mm-hmm.
Where her sister, the twin, didn't even do it. It's like, why are you doing this? And then now there's this dysfunctionality in the home because the sister knows she's fake, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the persona she took, and then the other one is like she's being herself. Then she goes into a depression mode. Why you hating? Why are you doing this to me? And then that's where it all starts. Even for us men, you take on that persona to cover up your anxiety, your depression, and your everything else. Then you're being somebody you're not. When something happens for real, what happens? Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You're stuck in a situation. And then, like I said, you have Doc said, you have the power to give it away. You also have the power to take control back.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what most men don't understand. You've always been given the power. You've been up in that since you were born. You were given that power to do something with yourself. For some reason, you went sideways like myself. I'm not saying everybody's perfect. Believe me, I went sideways, up and down in a cyclone, in a tornado, and everything came back down. To be grounded to this, this is why I can share my story, because you can hear it through my voice, my passion, and the insights. Because when you can get over drugs, addictions, on the streets, gangs, this and all this other good stuff, right? Those are insights you can't even fake, right? There's no way you can fake it. But it all comes down to what? You want to reduce your anxiety. You want to reduce your stress levels. You want to improve focus and concentrate on daily tasks. Like Doc said, it's motivation and action. Well, action goes before motivation because that'll take you forward. It
Yeah.
also has need to have real world meaningful connections with people you can trust and have experiences with them. Because look at it this way, my 6-year-old boys are not going to change when they're 16. Their habits going to change.
Mm.
Their behaviors might change. But if I can steal those values in them now, they have something to grab onto. And this is where I believe, including myself and men, need to get back to, right? What do they
Yeah.
want to hang? What do you want to hang their coat on? Their internal, their emotional well-being to get over the anxiety, to get over the depression, right? Oh,
Mhm.
did I go too far? I was like, I was being Doc just a minute
You
there.
never go too far.
So let me ask you this, Doc, right? How do you restore the man that you was meant to be versus the man that you are think you are now?
Oof, boy, that's a tough one, man. Not tough to answer, but tough to do because it really depends on how far
Yes.
removed you are from your actual self. And this is something that I find like a lot of men, what they'll do is they will sacrifice who they are, for their roles. So let's say me, I'll come in as Keith. I'll sacrifice
Rose.
Keith to be the husband. I'll sacrifice Keith to be the father. I'll sacrifice Keith to be the therapist. I'll sacrifice Keith to be the podcaster or the speaker or the author or whatever the case may
Right.
be. And unfortunately, then I now take on these as my identity. And a lot of us as men do that. We'll take on our roles as the identity.
Oh,
And the
that's deep.
problem with that
That's deep.
is because a role is just a role. A role is a description of a job that we have to do. That's it. It's not an identity. Like my
It's not
identity
you.
is not a father. My identity is not a husband. My identity is Keith. Keith does the
Yes.
role of a father. Keith does the role of a husband. Keith does the role of a therapist, right? So I'm bringing all that I am to these different roles. But if I don't know who I am, if I just self-sacrifice and I just give myself up because that's what we're told to do as men, and if we're told nobody cares, work harder, and you go further and further and further down the line, and then you look at yourself in the mirror, I don't even know who I am anymore. I don't even know what I like anymore. I don't even know what brings me joy anymore. I have no idea. So that's why I said it depends on where you are in that, right? Because if you're in the beginning and you feel like you're getting to that, well, I would say, well, you need to just stop, right? Right? What are the things that make up who you are? What are your beliefs? What are your values? What are the things you like to do? How do you like to decompress? What's
Mhm.
your self-care look like? All those things, right? You need to keep doing that and building and cultivating yourself as you do these roles, because as you cultivate yourself, you will improve in every single role. Because as you improve, whatever role, whatever hat you're wearing is going to improve as well. But if you're someone who's been so far removed from it, you're like, I don't even know who I am anymore. Right? If I were to take time off and think about it, and someone says, hey, take a day off and do what you want to do, I wouldn't even know what to do. That's a more difficult place to be. You really got to go back and do some real work and think about, okay, what was it like? Because at one point in time, you were yourself. And some people, honestly, you might have to take it all the way back to childhood. Like, what was I like as a child? What did I like as a child?
Yeah.
Oh, I like this. I like that. I like bugs. I like building. I like whatever. I like creating. I like writing. Then you need to go and bring that back now. You can start doing that now. I know sometimes some
That's a good
guys might
exercise.
say,
Yeah.
well, I can't do it because I don't have the time. All these roles are taking up everything like that. Well, then listen, it sounds like you're overwhelmed. It sounds like you're overwhelmed. And it sounds like you need to start doing an inventory of your life and of your time and of your responsibilities and start identifying, okay, what do I have control over? What can I influence? What do I got to accept? And what do I got to let go? And once you start doing that and you start, putting things in the right buckets, you're going to find that time. And I'll also say this, you have to find that time because no one else can do it for you. Your wife can't do it for you. Your kids can't do it for you. Your boss isn't
Nobody.
going to do it for you. No one else is going to do it for you. You have to say, you know what? I'm taking that time, period. Point blank. And this is my time For me, I'm going to play video games. I'm going to build Legos. I'm going to paint. I'm going to draw. I'm going to write. I'm going to go on a hike. I'm going to do whatever it is that it's going to fill me and bring me back to who I am so that I can actually show up better for everybody else. Right. So that's what I would say, for anyone who's lost sight of who they are. If you're in the beginning part, then you need to pull back and cultivate yourself. But if you're far down the line and you sacrifice for so many years, you need to take a, stop, do an inventory, get that time and start looking back of what did I like to do? What was I into? Right? Like what are the things that made up who I was? What were my dreams? What were my goals? What did I accomplish? Right? Go back and start thinking about that. And that can be a whole nother topic for another time, Gordon, about how, how to recover abandoned dreams. Because a lot of times we abandon
I like that one.
And it's like, why did you do that? What would you abandon your dream? Oh, because of my roles. And like, no, all these roles we take on should amplify our life. And that's so important. Gentlemen, your roles should amplify your life, not take away from it. My role as a husband makes me better and makes my life better. Amplifies, doesn't take away. My role as a father amplifies things. It doesn't take away. My role as a therapist amplifies. It doesn't take away. If you are taking on a role and it is pulling from you and draining you and killing you, you need to really ask yourself the question: why am I in this role? Or maybe I'm doing something wrong in this role. Maybe that's what it is. Because these roles are supposed to fill me, not drain me and kill me. So think along those lines. But yeah, we'll have to talk about abandoned dreams.
That's the really good one, because like you said, roles are meant to enhance your life and your life that you have going on now. Like you want to take on a role as a father. Okay. Is it frustrating? Is it fulfilling at the same time? Absolutely. But it pours into you while you're still pouring into other people. Same like this. I'll take this channel, for example. We pour so much into this that I know it's pouring into other men. And we also are getting reciprocation back because things we want to get answered, and it fulfills our cups, right? Yeah. But at the same time, if that role that you're doing, like when I was just talking to one of the clients is like, the job that you have, the role that you're playing and you're taking it home is draining you for you to go drink and go gamble at the casino. We have a freaking problem, right? A big problem. And it also can be in your relationship. If your role in your relationships is draining you, right? Financially, emotionally, spiritually, that's when you have to just either have a communication breakdown or cut your losses and go, right? Because like you said before, 2 weeks ago, there's a thing called the door, right? You're like the movie, The Money Pit. You only keep, it doesn't have to just be physical money. It can be your emotional money, your psychological, everything that leads into all this stuff. And I'll give you a story for me, right? When you sit in your prison cell on a rack and you think about how many chances you had in life, right? You think about the things that you're going to do right, the things you did wrong, and the things you can make it better. The role that you played up to this point and it's not working out for you is the time you take on a new perspective. You look it through a different window of your eyelid, of your eyeballs, your glasses. It's called the Johari window, whatever you want to call it, right? So that you can move forward and be balanced and okay with the role that you're playing as the human. Because like Doc said, you're a human being first, regardless. No matter what bullshit you have going on, guys, you got to be human first. And humans have, especially as men, put a lot on their plate, not just financially, not just spiritually. You have to be grounded somehow, somewhere with the person that, or the people around you. If you don't have that and you don't go back to where your dreams came from, it all get dissolved somewhere, someplace. These are, I got a female telling me these are male topics. It's not just male topics. It's for females also, right? Because you're a human first. I'll end with this though, right? Even like for us, when there's always a saying, when you come out of doing a long prison time, you always go back to what you did that was fun, right? So you want to go, like for us, you do your long stretch of prison time, you go back to what you did as a teenager, as a 10-year-old, as 11-year-old, and you relive your past, right? And that's where you have to get to. You have to get back to your dreams to figure out what made you happy, what made you tick, what made you. Now, as an adult, your father, You're a business person, you're a therapist, you're a coach, you're a provider, you're a protector. You do all these things. When was the last time? I mean, I'm guilty of it also. When was the last time you did something for yourself? Right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that's key to it all, because if you don't have yourself, nobody benefits,
That's true.
including yourself.
That's true. That's true. That's very
I got,
true.
I got, I got
Yeah.
a text, but these are all male topics. No, this is why I have a female coach on here too. I'm gonna have more coming on this year too. I'm reaching out. Guys, if you knew me from my past, anybody, and you want to be on this show as a guest to ask questions live, to ask me and how we moved it, please reach out. We want to go wide and depth on all the topics, because it'll help not just you, it'll help another viewer.
Yeah. That's the same thing. If anyone, on YouTube or Facebook, for my profiles right now, if you have any questions or you want to come on, please feel free to reach out. Feel free to reach out. We'll answer your questions. We'll help you get on the right track, lead you in the right direction. Because that's what this is all about, right? We're starting this whole thing out to help people, right? To change lives, so yeah, please reach out.
And
Reach out.
guys, if you don't know who we are, right? I'm gonna put this out right here. Right? We're gonna put this, we're Boundaries and Brotherhood of men dedicated to empowering one another, to improving self-worth, self-esteem, having emotional mastery, some accountability, most accountability, and mastering communication, just to see the top of it all, right?
Mhm.
A lot of the times, included in the Boundaries and Brotherhood umbrella, is going to be business coaching, AI usage, workflows, systems, and how to even do some sales online, offline, and in communication. We're putting this all under one umbrella, and you get Doc and myself and Carrie. Because some people need some dating coaching advice too. But the main thing, we want to give you guys the confidence and everything else that you want to move forward in your life, so you can have purpose, kill off your anxiety, control your depression without medication, if possible, and figure out a way how we can get things done for you, yourself, and your family. Doc, any closing remarks? We just blew right through. Guys, find our playlist. We got webinar, workshops, and everything else that's might help you, and it's all free right now. Don't give me.
I'll say to kind of close this out, guys, just because you feel anxiety, just because you feel depression, doesn't mean it's the end. Doesn't mean you have to be stuck there. And it doesn't mean you have to, struggle for years and years and fight against it. If you could finally understand what these emotions are telling you, and you can start analyzing your own life and recognizing that, oh, shoot, I actually have a lot more agency and power than I give myself credit for. I'm more prepared than I thought. I know how to handle anxiety now. It comes up, something comes up. Either I'm ready for it or I'm not. If I'm not ready for it, I get prepared for it. If I am ready for it, then there's no issue, right? Oh, I know what depression is now. Oh, it's just overwhelm. I got too much on my plate. We normalize it. Yep, you probably do have too much on your plate. Then you start organizing your life. You start setting priorities. You start getting things out that are overwhelming you, that's pushing you beyond your capacity. Right. So, and then for anyone who's trying to help anybody like that, just learn to be there for them, empathize with them, validate them, normalize their situation. And then again, ask them questions that lead to them empowering themselves to get themselves out of that situation, right? Without you taking more on. So we don't have to do it alone. Like we just don't, right? Don't believe those lies. Don't believe any of that stuff, right? Again, the lies of what they say about what masculinity is supposed to be. There's no authority anywhere that said this is how it's supposed to be. And so if you're a believer, if you're a Christian, then God never said that. All these standards that they say what a man's supposed to be, he never. Matter of fact, more often than not, he says the opposite. So God, if you're a Christian and God's your standard, well then, yeah, don't believe what society says. If you don't believe in God, right? And you say, you know what? What about those who don't believe in God? Well, then you have to find out again who in the world has the authority to tell you how you should be as a man. The fact that you can't open up and you can't share. And again, you're not going to find it. I'm going to save you a whole lot of research and a whole lot of time. You're not going to find it because anyone who's on the same level as you cannot then tell you, oh yeah, I'm setting the standard and you all have to follow it forever. Now they can't. They can't.
No way.
We would need to
No
stay. We
way.
would need someone outside of ourselves. You would need someone bigger than us, wiser than us, that understands us intricately in order to set that standard. And so if it's just man to man, well, bro, you flawed just like I'm flawed. So I can't trust you as
Absolutely.
a standard. So long story short, don't believe all the foolishness that's out there in the world. No one cares, work harder. You know, time heals all wounds. Real men don't open up. Real men don't ask for help. It's just, that's garbage. It's garbage. Throw it away. And anyone who's saying, if you're listening to anyone right now that's preaching that, then please stop listening to them. And I mean that wholeheartedly. If there's anyone you're listening to, and I don't care who it is, I'm not going to drop any names, but if there's anyone you're listening to who's preaching to you that real men do it alone, and real men don't ask for help, and real men don't open up, and real men and alpha, please stop listening to them. It's garbage. It's an echo chamber. It's trash. Just throw it all away. Throw it all away. Unsubscribe. Unlike all the videos. Remove all the shares. All that stuff. Right? Just get rid of it all. Just throw the whole thing away. Right? Because all they're doing is perpetuating dysfunction. And the goal is not to perpetuate dysfunction, but to actually help men heal and connect and be our full, authentic self through and through, where we're in the full range. We can understand the full range, control the full range of who we are, our emotions and everything. You could be like Tony Stark in the middle of that room, and your whole life, you're the master of it. You can control where everything goes and what everything does and where you go and how you go and who you connect with. That's the whole purpose. That's the goal. That's empowering you. Not making it so that there's somebody, that you have to listen to. I'm going to follow. No. To give you the strength and you the power and you the agency in your own life to change your own destiny and change where your life is going. So with that being said, guys, yeah.
All right, guys.
We know how to
guys, if you need some help with anything else, if you're watching this on TikTok, please like, share, comment, follow, hit the notification button, head on over to YouTube. Take the assessment at assessment.boundariesandbrotherhood.com. And we'll see you next week, same time. Get your questions answered. Aloha.
You guys take care. Have a great and blessed day. And we'll see you next week.
Leave a comment. Or hit and TikTok, yeah, some you got stars or something crazy like that. I didn't even do our sponsors. All right, we'll see you next week.
All right.